A war thousands of kilometers away could decide how much you pay for milk, petrol, flight tickets, medicines, even your monthly EMI. Sounds exaggerated, right? But that's unfortunately what's happening right now, because when tensions rise between the United States and Iran, India doesn't just watch the news, India pays for it too. And the scary part is, most people don't realize how deeply connected their daily expenses are to the narrow stretch of water in West Asia called the Strait of Hormuz. Now, a place many Indians had probably never heard of until suddenly oil prices, inflation, and the rupee started moving. So in this video, let's break this down properly. How is the US-Iran war affecting your wallet? Why do wars abroad suddenly make your groceries and fuel more expensive? And why are economists warning that this could become much bigger if the conflict escalates further? Because once you understand the chain reaction, you'll realize this isn't just a foreign policy story, it's a household budget story. Now, first things first, India has one giant vulnerability: energy. India imports most of its crude oil from outside the country, and a huge chunk of that comes from West Asia. And here's where geography becomes destiny. Almost 20% of the world's oil supply passes through a tiny sea route called the Strait of Hormuz. Now, think of it like a narrow highway for global oil tankers. And Iran sits right next to it. So whenever there's war, military threats, naval blockades, or attacks in that region, markets immediately panic, because if oil tankers stop moving smoothly through Hormuz, the world suddenly fears an oil shortage. And once people fear shortages, oil prices jump. That's exactly what's been happening. Brent crude prices have surged sharply during the conflict. Now, you might think, okay, oil prices rise, so petrol becomes expensive. But no, oil is not just fuel. Oil is hidden inside modern life. And that's the key idea. Now, think about how a tomato, for example, reaches your kitchen. A truck transports it. That truck runs on diesel. The plastic crate carrying it, oil-linked chemicals. The cold storage, electricity costs. The fertilizer used on the farm, also heavily energy dependent. So when oil prices rise, transport becomes expensive, manufacturing becomes expensive, logistics become expensive, and eventually everything becomes expensive. This is why wars in West Asia don't stay there. They travel through supply chains. And then suddenly you notice, wait, why is everything costing more this month? Well, that's called inflation. And India is especially vulnerable because we import energy instead of producing enough ourselves. So when crude oil rises globally, India's import bill explodes. Now, the most visible impact is fuel prices. Now, India recently raised petrol and diesel prices after years of keeping them relatively frozen. Now, here's what that actually means. Fuel prices are like the foundation costs of the economy. If petrol and diesel rise, delivery costs rise, taxi fares rise, airline fuel costs rise as well. Food transport costs rise. Even online shopping becomes more expensive eventually, because every single product physically moves somewhere before reaching you. And once transport becomes expensive, businesses pass those costs to consumers, meaning to you and me. But fuel is only the beginning. Now imagine you run a medical company or a medicine company. Your chemical imports become expensive, shipping becomes expensive, packaging becomes expensive, electricity becomes expensive. Eventually, you can either absorb the losses or raise prices. And this pattern repeats across industries. Paints, air conditioners, consumer goods, furniture, airlines, restaurants. That's why economists call energy inflation sticky, because it spreads everywhere. Now, you may ask, why does India not just buy oil from somewhere else? Well, good question. And India actually has been diversifying. Remember, Russia became a major supplier after the Ukraine war. India also buys from multiple countries, but here's the problem. Oil is a global market. Even if India buys oil from somewhere else, global prices still affect everyone. Now, think of it like airline tickets during, let's say, holiday season. Even if you find another route, if overall demand explodes, prices rise everywhere. That's exactly how oil works as well. So, India cannot completely escape a global oil shock. It can only try to soften the damage. What's happening right now reveals something deeper about the modern world. Countries may look independent politically, but economically, well, everything is connected. A missile strike in West Asia can affect a student paying tuition abroad in Delhi, a restaurant owner in Mumbai, a truck driver in Punjab, or a middle-class family calculating monthly expenses in Bengaluru. That's globalization in real life. And the next few months will depend on one critical question. Does this remain a regional conflict, or does it become a prolonged global economic shock? Because if the second scenario happens, this price surge may only be just the beginning.